Going on YouTube, KG4FJC here. We're trying to get back into the video thing. Life gets in the way like everything else. Trying some new audio settings and things like that. So we're going to see how this works out. Got a very cheap microphone. So anyway, I'm going to start off with, we're going to try to make another series of videos. This series is going to be focused on the Tate tm8200 mobile radios. In our case, it's for 220. The reason I'm doing these is because, one, there's not a lot of information on YouTube about it. And there goes the air conditioner fan. And the other reason is that we've got several of them for sale. And this isn't advertising here, but if people buy them, they need to know what they're getting. How do they do what they do? Because they're commercial rigs, so you don't just program it off the face. And anyway, I'm not going to get into how to hook it up. I'm not going to get into how to read the radio or burn the radio. All I can say is that the software is available online and programming cables are available online. The software is available for free. Man, the sun came out. It's bright over there. And the programming cables are, $20, something like that. No big deal. So the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to go through the programming software and show you how to do some of the basic setups and do things because the radios we're kind of running low on ones with good displays. The Tate 8200s, the displays are not that good, and they start getting lines in them. And some, you can deal with. Some got so many lines you can't hardly read the thing. Ooh, there's a fly. See if he shows up on camera. There he is. So what we want to do is, all right, yeah, we're not going to be selling, radios with bad displays, at an outrageous price. But the radios are still good. The radios themselves are great. It's just the displays are junk. So we're thinking repeater radios and or node radios or, whatever. They're perfect for that. They're built like tanks as far as the chassis and heat sinking. Really good. So a small fan on it, keep it cool, run the thing forever. They're 25 watts max. So anyway, let's get into the software. So I'm going to assume you've already got, man, the sun is bright. I just looked over at the monitor. I'm assuming you've already got the software downloaded and set up and that you know how to read the radio. It's through the microphone jack on the front, on the head. And we're going to get into the software. So let me go over here. All right. So where am I at? Yeah, I'm right there, little me. Yeah. Little me up in the corner up here. All right. This is the software. Okay. You've got your global settings, your conventional settings, and your trunking settings. Okay. Once you have read the radio, bloop, right here, my recommendation is to always read the radio first and save it. Gosh, the sun is outrageous coming off the desk and coming off everything else. This is bad. Oh well. We'll just deal with it. So you've read the radio and you've saved it. Okay, I suggest that every single time. Even if you're just making a small change, the file size is irrelevant. You've got a copy. I think by default dates it when you saved it. So anyway, we're going to go over here to your global settings. All right, specifications, that's just this page here. It says, what the model number is, what band it's for, serial number, all this other stuff. Who cares? Serial protocol, don't really need because it doesn't apply to us. Now, some of them do have a GPS port, and I haven't figured out what you do with it because all of ours is just conventional, no GPS required, all that. Don't really care. Same thing with this tab here. We don't use it. So you can leave all that blank. TDMA, it doesn't do TDMA like you think. I hoped it did, but that's just for when you're doing trunking for a data channel. It's not for, using Moto Turbo. All right, but the UI preferences, okay, this is something. Now, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory for most of this. Your backlight mode, if you don't have it on continuous, with activity or off, whatever. How long do you want it to stay on? Your default contrast. You know, do you want the display to wrap around? Do you not want it to wrap around? What have you? GPS doesn't matter. Audio. Here's basically where you set your generic volumes, and this little list over here on the right, this is for you to turn on or off warnings, basically, or indicator beeps and all that. There goes the repeater fan. I hope it stays off. Shouldn't be. It's just IDing at the moment, I believe. So you can turn on or off whatever beeps and stuff you want. Multi-head, don't need to worry about. We're not doing that. Startup. All right. Power on mode. Well, yeah, I want it to power on. Or do you want to go to the previous state? Generally power on. Startup mode, we want it in conventional because we're using a conventional system. We're not doing a trunking system. And I'll be honest, I don't know that much about the trunking side of it. All this here, you can kind of, you know, it's more or less self-explanatory. The global is basically just what you want stuff to do every time you turn it on. Now this is something if you're going to be using the radio for a node or a repeater. All right, your microphone PTT, that's your hand mic. All right, then you've got options for 2 external PTT sources. Now, if you're doing a node or a repeater, you're going to want usually external 1 is what I do just because it's easier. Let's see, where's something good? Conventional PTT, you know, D key after PTT, call setup. Yes, PTT monitor, never, because, you know, not doing that for a repeater or a node. Then you got the inhibit if you want to, you know, lock it out. Or here, if you're doing voice, which most repeaters and nodes are doing voice, where you can have it being for data. Okay. The priority, well, do you want the hand mic to take over first priority? Then you would set this to low or medium. Actually, if you drop this down to lowest, then this would be third in order. Your hand mic is usually your primary. Audio source. Now, this is, you know, an important one if you're doing a repeater or node. All right. Do you want audio tap, standard mic? No. Or auxiliary mic? No. You want the audio tap in for your audio source on external PTT number 1. Lone worker, we don't need to worry about. All right. Programmable IOs. We're not going to get into this a whole lot right now. This can get a little complicated, but this whole section here is going to be used a lot for setting up a radio for a node or for a repeater. And depending on which radio is which, you can actually set them both the same for a repeater. So then we'll go back up here to the conventional settings. Okay. Cell call, we don't do cell call in amateur radio. All right. What the cell call, the DTMF, and the two-tone, and the MDC 1200, those are all types of, think of it as your PL tones. All right. For amateur use, we use, you know, PL or DCS. All right. For commercial, they use several other different types, and I think overseas they use, for amateur, they may use other types. Some of these are kind of old, like the two-tones, you know, or DTMF. You can set it up so that if you do a certain DTMF or send a certain dual tone, it'll open the squelch on somebody else's radio. It's kind of neat, but we just don't use it here. There's a uses for it. It'd be kind of neat, and you can play with it. But we're going to focus down here on networks, the network tab. All right. Network name, you can call it whatever you want. All right. And you can add multiple networks, which, you know, I don't know why this is selected, but that should be none. You can add networks right here at the bottom. All right. And you really only need one network because you're not bouncing around different networks. Squelch detect type right here. Oh, yes, I want to continue. It's because I changed that one. What do we want? Do we want it based on the noise level or the signal strength? Noise level is actually my preference for doing it, because as your noise level increases, it's looking at the signal to noise ratio to determine when to open the squelch. If it's just based on signal strength, then the squelch might actually pop open when you go through a noisy area. So I don't really care for that. Subaudible side tones. Yes, we want subaudible side tones. That's for our CTCSS. TX duration. This is your timeout timer. All right. And you can have it set where once it times out, it'll lock the transmitter out for however long you set it. Subaudible signaling. All right. We're not doing any of the other stuff, but we are doing CTCSS, DCS. Man, I cannot talk. That's pretty bad when you're doing a video. Here's how long it, it's not how long, but how intense it is. Reverse tone burst, phase shift. I'm sorry, this one is your duration. It's how long. This is for your reverse burst on your CTCSS, so that it closes out the squelch in the repeater first. Lead out delay, how long you want it to do all of that. Same thing if you're using DCS. Receive monitoring, and we're going to get into, don't worry, we're going to get into how do you make channels. We're going to do that here shortly. Hook switch monitor. You can have the thing scan all the time. That, you know, microphone's hooked up on the hook, and then when you take it off hook, you can make it stop on a specific channel or stop on the open channel, whatever. It's kind of neat. Commercial uses it quite a bit for their scan function. Quiet time. It basically just puts the radio into a low power consumption receive. Who cares? It's running on the battery. Who cares? Single element tone. We don't use that. So next, phone patch. We don't use. PTT signaling. We really don't use that much either. And emergency we don't use. So just your basic setups for your network. Now we'll come into the zones and channels. Think of zones as your memory groups. That's actually a good way to think about it. Your zones are your memory groups. So you can go to zones and you can see the ones we've got here. So if I want to do, and these are actually kind of grouped per area of where they cover. Okay. Okay. Expand it a little bit. So what, you know, you want to have a memory group for all of somebody's linked repeaters. You want to have a memory group for all of West Texas repeaters, a memory group for all of East Texas repeaters, and North Texas, South Texas, whatever. You would make a zone for each group. Most people, and on 220 band, you really don't need but one group. Unless you travel a lot, then you can make, you know, multiple groups for the areas you travel in. You can very easily do that. It's whatever you want. So you would make a zone, click add. All right. And we're going to add zone 8. Okay, that's where we're at. And I can change that to, let's see. Oops, I mistyped. Central VA. That's where I'm at. Fine. So we've got Central VA zone or memory group. Now, if you go to channels, bloop, we are in zone Central VA. We just made it so there's no channels in it. Okay, that's simple. How many channels do you have? Add. So you add up all the channels you're going to put in there, however many you want. And then this one is just your summary page, and it works pretty good. You can actually put all your information in just like you want. The detailed, a little bit easier. So let's start with, where am I at? Oh, all right. I want channel 1. There we go. That helps. All right. So, or channel 1. All right. What channel number? Yeah. Then we can change this to, let's do it. Let's actually run through adding a channel. All right. Label. Let's see. I want this at the one we have at Trump Winery. All right. You can label it whatever you want. All right, that is 224.600 receive frequency, and transmit 223.000 receive signal. All right, this is your CTCSS. Damn, there goes that talking again. All right, this repeater is a 151.4, and it does have outgoing tone, so I'll obviously put that there. And we want it to transmit, same tone. Power high, network, there's only one network in it. Bandwidth, haha. I need to change that to 25 because we're not running narrowband. Squelch, the squelch settings, you got city or country, city, and hard. Country is usually where I set them at. If you're in a area with, I don't know, you don't want to go very far, then set it, more strict. TX inhibit, none. Active birdie killer. If you've got a birdie around there, yeah, click. Not use a channel for data. Automatic noise reduction. You can or can't. It's up to you. I don't really like it. Companding, no, we're not doing that. Hide channel, no, because we just made it. User selectable signaling, not really, because it's going to be the same thing. Yeah, let's see. Everything up here doesn't apply. So that's really all there is to it. So now, you go back to the summary page. Here's everything that's set. And honestly, then you could burn the radio at that time and you'd have that one in there. Scan groups. Scan groups are kind of fun. You've got voting and scanning. We haven't been able to get the voting working like you would expect it to. So let's just add a scan group. All right. You're going to need to, we've only got one channel in there, but actually if we take it to change our zones to system, so we're in scan, and this shows which channel numbers we are going to scan when we hit the scan button. That's really about it. But if we're in the Central Virginia zone we just created, we've only got one channel, so we can only add one channel to scan group because there's only one there. Address book, doesn't matter. Conventional data parameters, doesn't matter because we're not doing data. Conventional key settings, these are kind of neat. You've got your buttons on the front, your 4 buttons basically on the front, and this software is used for other models, that's why there's more here. See, I've got low power transmit, monitor squelch override, which Tim said that wasn't working right, so maybe just monitor. No, it should be squelch override. Let's see, it doesn't have his set the same way, maybe. There's a whole list of things you can do. Most of these only do single press. I think the emergency button will do a long press function. So you can set all your buttons up on your face, so your radio, to do what you want per here. These boxes will be highlighted if there's other things that you can do across different zones, which some of the functions you can do across multiple zones. These here are your up and down keys on your display. It shows you what you want to do. I would leave these blank myself because I would leave these just like they are, but set them however you want. Play with it. You can always burn it back because you saved that file, didn't you? Conventional UI. Here's, what do you want on the display? Obviously, display. Call queuing is disabled because we don't do that here. Startup channel group. Where do you want, what do you want to start up in? I just leave it in previous because that's what it was. Conventional menu. This is where you can add things to the menu on the radio itself that you can have access to. I've got everything enabled because it's my radio. you can make it a lot simpler by just unchecking a lot of the stuff. Channels, yes. Zones, yes. Address book, nope, don't care. Local calls, nope, don't care. Set status, yeah, we'll leave that. Dial radio call, yeah, we can get rid of that. Dial auto patch, yeah, we can get rid of that. What we got on radio settings? Alert settings, yeah, I might want to change those on the fly. Radio info, yeah, whatever. Advanced, program groups, nope. Set scan key, nope. Change mode, no, because we're just going to leave it as conventional anyway. So you can make it something like that if you want it. Not a big deal. Sub-audible signaling, I don't believe there's anything there. Nope, I'm right. There's nothing there. Once you've got that done, up at the top, file, save as, save it where you want it, and burn it to the radio. That's all there is to it. So that's a quickie on the Tate tm8200 series. Same software works for all of them. Mobile radios. That's it. Oh, my camera's a little crooked here. There we go. I kind of max and relax. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I'm going to do several more videos on the Tate tm8200s, and we'll get into a little bit more of the nitty gritty on setting up for repeater or node use, because we'd love to have a bunch of 220 nodes around. And we'll do a few videos, I guess, on this. And then I'm planning on doing a couple of videos on the Tate base stations, the TB8100s. They're pretty cool. I really like it. I've got one running right here. That's what, I don't know if you heard or not. That's what the fan runs every now and then. And then, oh yeah, I've got another video that I'm going to work on for All-Star. I know a lot of people like my All-Star videos. Let me do wouldn't be pregnant at this juncture. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a video on how to set up a VPN. Costs you like $4 a month. I mean, there's actually a free way to do it too for a year through Amazon. But yeah, setting up a VPN so that you can get incoming connections, because pretty much all the carriers now don't port forward through IPv4. And if you want incoming connections and keep control remotely, VPN's the way to go. So 7.3, and we'll catch y'all later.